Okay, um, I'll go ahead and begin. My name is Cassandra Dean, and I'm the Birdability captain for the state of Nebraska. Birdability is an organization, just became a 501c3 this year. It is based out of the Travis Audubon Center in Texas. And Virginia Rose is the one who started this up, and it's about making sure that birding sites are accessible for anybody and everybody. That's her motto. Here is what Birdability does. Birdability is committed to making the birding community and the outdoors accessible, safe, welcoming, and inclusive for everybody and everybody. Our mission is to remove barriers to access for birders with mobility challenges, blindness or low vision, intellectual or developmental disabilities, including autism, mental illness, being deaf or hard of hearing, and other health concerns. So where did I begin on this journey to Birdability? So I used to work for Nebraska Game and Parks, and in about 2016, we got these emails at work about the crane migration out at Rose Sanctuary. And mind you, at the time, birding was not my hobby of choice. But when I went out there to see the crane migration, it kind of stuck with me for a very long time. It was really enjoyable. And from then on, I've just been going out birding anything I can see. A few years ago, I went to, I'm sorry. There's a park here in Lincoln that has a big nesting site of the great blue herons. And so I was able to go see that as well. So it's just been kind of stuck on about that. So I also was interested in Spring Creek Prairie because of the prairie life there and the birds. So in 2019, I became a master naturalist so that I could volunteer at Spring Creek Prairie. And that's where I met Jason, the bird nerd there. And I got started volunteering there. So then why accessibility? Well, in 2012, I developed 3 autoimmune diseases, and I found that I had to adapt to juggle my life around being a single mom, homeschooling, working full time, and trying to maintain my so I don't get too sick a lot of times with my autoimmune diseases. So for example, I'm in constant fatigue. So that's one of my autoimmune diseases. I have a constant fatigue syndrome. So there are days I can find myself, I can hike 4 to 5 miles. It's a good day, sun's shining. I'm hiking, as fast as I can. And then there's days where I could just go outside and I can walk 0.5 miles and then I'm done. I want to turn back and go home because I'm tired. So I had to adjust where I was going for bird watching based on what level of activity I can do. So I found that very frustrating at times because I found this new hobby of bird watching and I was like, well, today I don't feel like going anywhere. And it made me really sad to think that there's some areas that I can't go to because of the accessibility. So in 2018, I came across this article from Travis Audubon about Virginia Rose, about making birding more inclusive and accessible. And I was like thinking, wow, she has this made. She is going somewhere that this is going to be a great avenue that's going to take off. I know it will. But at the time, I wasn't thinking that I should be the one to take it off here in Nebraska. So I just kept going through my daily life, homeschooling my son. I also tutor my best friend who's autistic. And so here I am. I have had accessibility issues. My friends sons have accessibility issues, and we were just struggling through, going outdoors, camping, hiking, bird watching, all that stuff. And I felt like there has to be more about making sure that outdoors is accessible, but I didn't know how. So in October of 2020, I came across another article in Birdwatchers magazine about birdability, and there was Virginia Rose again. And then I was like, oh yeah, I did read about her, like years back. And I was like, I should give her a call. So I gave her a call there in October 2020, right after she published this article. And she's like, we don't have anybody in Nebraska that is willing to let people know about accessibility and birdability. Would you be our birdability captain? And I said, sure, why not knowing what I was getting myself into. But there I was. So November of 2020, I became the birdability captain for the state of Nebraska. So here's a little thing. No one can predict what an individual with an accessibility challenge can or cannot do. So this is a very good statement, because earlier I said I have chronic fatigue. So on Monday, I could be like hiking 5 miles, bird watching all day or all morning in the bitter cold. And then the next day I'd be like, nope, I can only walk 0.5 miles. I need to bundle up and I just need to sit still. I'm not going to hike as far as I did. So it's easy. Some people think they can look at a person and think, oh, they can do everything. And in some cases you can't. I am not in a wheelchair. I can walk perfectly fine with 2 legs, but a lot of people don't assume that I have an accessibility challenge, and I do because of all my autoimmune diseases. So I get a lot of times the bad rap of, they look at me and they assume I can handle the same amount of hiking that they can do, or the same amount length of day outside that they can do, when I can't. And so it's kind of hard to express that to some people. And I've learned to, like this year with being a birdability captain, I've been able to express it more clearly that, hey, today I will not be able to join you on that hike because this is my challenge. And so it's very clear that everyone who invites people to go birding with them to really pay attention to what that person can or cannot do. So what is a birdability captain? So birdability captains are birders interested in actively working to improve inclusion and accessibility in their communities. They may do this by intentionally seeking out potential accessible birding locations and completing birdability site reviews to populate the birdability map, by holding accessible birding outings, and by advocating for access improvements. There's no minimum amount of engagement required, except that you have a desire to get involved. And so that's basically, I'll be going over in the rest of the PowerPoint on what I actually will do here in Nebraska, and what you guys can do and help me assist with. So the first thing as a birdability captain do is I help organizations put their birding site on the map. So National Audubon Society and Birdability crowdsource this map so that organizations can tag the birding site and say, yes, we are accessible. And it's great if they're accessible. Does it have to be totally accessible? No, and I will get to that here in a few. As you notice, we have very limited sites already in Nebraska. This year, I helped Spring Creek get onto the map, Rose Sanctuary get on the map, and then I'm currently in connections with Game and Parks to help them put 6 of their Game and Park sites on the map. So that's where I am at right now with the map. And so, as you know, there's probably a lot more birding sites out there. I just haven't gotten to them yet. The other thing I do is assist organizations Oh, sorry, I need to go back. Well, anyway, okay, so I assist organizations. Can I go back here? Okay. I assist organizations in expanding their accessibility. Sorry. I visit sites and act as a collaborator with the organization on ideas. So currently with Rose Sanctuary, I'm collaborating with them. If you don't know, their Birdability, their bird site blinds were recently rebuilt, and the contractor didn't make them accessible. And so I am right now giving them ideas on how to make those blinds accessible within their budget without having to go back to having to rebuild the whole blinds again. So that's what I'm doing with Rose Sanctuary currently. If you don't know Anne Wrinkle out there. So I give them ideas. There's this beautiful checklist that is on the Birdability site. So it goes through like parking, bathrooms, how long is the trail? Is the trail paved? Is the trail sand? What type of trail is it? Is it wide enough for wheelchairs? Is it not wide enough? Is there bridges? How height is the bridge rails? Are they more than 3 feet or not at 3 feet? You have to, so this beautiful questionnaire is what I go through with these organizations as I get them on the map. And then when I ask them about what their ideas for expanding looks like, it's based off of this site review checklist. I also assist organizations in appropriate wording when it comes to interpretive signs, flyers, Zoom programs, and websites. And here's a few examples. When you're doing websites, are you using alt text and image descriptions for pictures? Because you'd be surprised, most websites don't use alt text. And when a person who is low visioned or blind is using their readability device, it will not pick up the picture. So the alt text will actually say what the picture is. And that's very crucial if you're going to have a website. If you're going to do Zoom, are you using closed captioning? And as we noticed in this one, we weren't able to get the closed captioning on in time. But it's always good to make sure that if you are going to do a Zoom program, to use closed captioning, especially for those who may be hard of hearing deaf. On flyers and websites, are you using the correct fonts, sizes, and colors? There's a great, like certain fonts you can't use if you're going to have like the flyer go to the visually impaired. And there's some colors you probably shouldn't use, especially if you know someone who might be red-green colorblind. And I will get to that here. Also inclusive language, saying bird outing instead of bird walks, and don't say the word normal or the word handicap, and don't say the word see you later to someone with low vision or is blind. So you want to use appropriate words when you're talking to them, as well as when you're saying them on the flyer about your walk. And here's an example. So on this on the left-hand side, you have the normal vision of Marilyn Monroe here, this very, very famous painting. And then over on the right, this is what a red-green color blindness person will actually see on the painting. And so it's very interesting when you're developing flyers or promoting events that you're using the proper colors and the way they're put together, so that someone who is colorblind will be able to visually see the words and the descriptions in the pictures. I also assist organizations in developing accessible birding outings. I I bring equipment such as binoculars. Most people don't realize that veterans with PTSD will use binoculars versus binoculars because of the idea that they don't want both eyes locked into something when there might be something behind them or around them. Binocular harnesses, I provide those in case people don't want to hold up their binoculars the whole time. And of course, noise reduced headphones. People who have epilepsy, autism, noise is in loud noises can actually have them break down, not associate with other people. Bright lights, you don't want to be near bright lights for people like that. So I bring noise reducing headphones. So if they want to wear them while they're birding, they can. I can also make arrangements with sign language interpreters. I do have the list of all the sign language interpreters in the state of Nebraska. So if we hold an accessible birding outing, let's say at Fontenelle, I can actually get someone close to Omaha that could probably come, and they can be there for them if we end up having anybody who is deaf or hard of hearing. I can also help assist organizations in advertising with like the ESU units, the Nebraska Autism Society, stroke support groups, things like that. August 28th, 2021 was our very first accessible bird outing in the state of Nebraska, and it was at Spring Creek Prairie. We had 2 people show up. I bless those hearts. It was a small group, but it was a really informative group, and they actually enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to having more accessible birding outings in 2022. So if you guys want to help me set up a few throughout the state of Nebraska, I would really appreciate it. And Birdability captains can also help with curriculum development. So currently right now, I'm working with the Nebraska Girl Scout Association, and I'm developing a Birdability patch for the Girl Scouts here in Nebraska. And that way the Girl Scouts can actually do what I'm doing, but on a different level. So it's going to be kind of interesting. That probably will not get done until about the end of this year. But that's something else that I can do, is I can help organizations with their curriculum development if that's what they would like me to do. Over here to the right, there's a Birdability rack card. So this is the information that gets sent out to nature centers all over the United States. I am the one who supplies the rack cards. So Rose Sanctuary has some and Spring Creek has some. So if you know any other nature centers that would be interested in these rack cards, you just let me know. And in the future, I also make arrangements for nature centers to sell Birdability merchandise and gift shops. So that's on something along down the pack here. Because Birdability is just brand new to being a nonprofit 501c3, we haven't developed a merchandise brand yet. I mean, we've gotten a couple of shirts, but not like a full. But that is down the ideas for Birdability, and that is something we're going to be doing, is putting them in nature centers and gift shops in the future. Where to go from here? So if you want more information about Birdability, the best person you want to have is Virginia Rose. She was the one who started this, and she is the one who has the most diverse I'm trying to think of the word here. Education about being her involvement with Birdability down with Travis Audubon. So if you want to do them for a special event that's coming up, I would suggest that you book them and then have that way they can discuss more about Birdability as a whole as an organization. Then if anyone can put a bird site on the map. So even I can put bird sites on the map, but you know how many bird sites are in Nebraska. There's quite a bit. So if you feel comfortable, or if you would like me to assist you putting a bird site on the map, I can definitely come do that. We can definitely put some of Omaha's sites on the map there this year, and that would be a great way to expand Birdability. If you guys know an organization that needs to expand their accessibility, let me know. Maybe they just need some little hints here and there, or if they want to be like, oh, they would like to have their site on the map, I can go and talk to them. And it may be easier for me to go talk to them than someone off the street saying, you're not accessible. But if you know of an organization that probably needs a little guidance in that area, you can definitely let me know. And I can leave my email in the comment box, in the chat box. Take part in having an accessible birding outing at different locations. So if you know of someone who is accessibly challenged, bring them birding with you the next time you go on a hike. And then that way you can understand what they go through when they're out there birding with you. You can also follow Birdability on a Facebook page. They always are posting blogs about, like the most recent blog was about tips on putting Braille on information signs and trail signs. And that was a really good information thing there. They also had another blog that's recently posted about this artist who does color blindness pictures of birds for people who are colorblind. So you just follow Birdability and you'll be able to get all this information at you. Another one is my Facebook page. I started this Accessibility in Nebraska Outdoors Facebook page. It's for people who have accessibility challenges. So we can do meetups and promote events and promote technology. That way we can assist each other in the outdoors. So if you know anybody that would be interested in following this Facebook page, just let them know about it. And then the other thing is donate to Birdability. There is on the website a button where you can donate money to Birdability. And of course, the money goes to assisting people with information, getting Birdability out there and making sure that sites are accessible. Does anybody have any questions?
Cassandra, that's all very, very interesting. I was really impressed. I think you probably have quite a few sites that we can probably prompt you to get up from around in the Omaha area.
Okay.
And a couple of them to you. I think Toll Park is a really good one. It's the one that's central Omaha. It's about 90th and Center. So it's right there. It has paved trails all the way through the birding areas. And it's not very long. I think the loop to get everywhere around is less than a mile. It's about 3/4 of a mile.
Oh, good. Okay.
But very, very wheelchair accessible. That would be a good one to start. You've got Fontenelle, and Fontenelle, I think, I know everybody that's in charge of things out there, and I will certainly talk to them. I'll be out there on Saturday, so I will talk to a couple of people that I know.
Oh, great. That would be great. Yeah. See, what's interesting is Lincoln and Omaha are perfect areas for this because a lot of people with accessibility challenges have transportation issues. And so knowing where that they can go if they need to jump on a bus is going to be very helpful. A lot of times when I go out to Rose Sanctuary, it can be sometimes a long day for me because of my chronic fatigue, because I'm driving out there and then, spending 2 or 3 hours and then driving back.
Yeah.
So,
So take a couple of your suggestions to heart, because I know they've been doing some parking lot remodeling and stuff like that, because the parking lot was always a ways away from the center. You had to.
Yeah. So that sometimes that can be an issue, is transportation. So Lincoln, Omaha that's a great place to start, and
And Fontenelle is technically Bellevue, so it's a little bit out of the way. Obviously, if you can get around Omaha, you can get to Bellevue. It's not a really big deal, but it's not like being at 90th and Center, in Omaha, which is like probably it's closer in than dead center, in Omaha.
right.
But yeah, this is really interesting. I've got and we have a new executive director at Fontenelle who's really, really interested in making that Fontenelle accessible to everybody. And they have,
Oh, yes.
he's really making that a point. And they've got a good naturalist staff, about 4 or 5 naturalists that run programs whom you could twist some arms to get some good programming in there as well.
Yeah,
So,
that'd be great. Yeah. So it's been very interesting trying to get like a Girl Scout patch started. I didn't know like how much work is involved with that, but it's the idea that we're going to get these Girl Scouts to be able to go to like nursing homes and veteran centers to be able to take them outside and look at birds is just an awesome fact to know, that you can actually go to those places too. You don't have to have like a birding site.
and Fontenelle has a program that they call Seniors Understanding Nature, the SUN program.
Oh, that's cool.
About 3 or 4 times a year, they have a program. I just gave a program, winter birding or something like that, and gave them an update on the CBC. And the people in charge of that are part of that naturalist staff, and they run really, really good programming out there. So
yeah, I definitely have to see that programming there. That way I can give
have you been to, as a visitor at all?
I have not been to Fontenelle. Oh, driving in Omaha is very scary for someone with my chronic fatigue because
you don't have any issues.
Traffic. Yeah, I know. So if I go into Omaha, I have to have another driver.
I'm trying to think. You really put me onto it. I think I'm going to see how many accessible nature centers I can drop on your map. We'll give it a try and see what we can do.
There you go. Yeah.
Not dropping any duds, but otherwise, I think this is really, really interesting. So, well, thank you very much. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. And I put my email in the chat, so if you want to put that in the YouTube page as well, and then anybody who watches YouTube can email me.
That's exactly right. What we'll do.
Okay.
Well, that's wonderful. I'll let you go, but thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. Have a good rest of your evening.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.